We're here with Fresno Pacific men's soccer coach Jaime Ramirez, coming off a GSAC championship. Coach, tell us a little bit about the game on Saturday, a 4-3 win against Concordia. Really exciting match. For those of us that missed it, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, going into the match, there's a number of mixed feelings going to Concordia because we've had some significant results there in our favor, and we've also had some difficult results that were really lopsided in their favor. And so for me, thinking that this is the first time that we've gone over there to play for the championship. In other years, well, one time we did in 2006, I believe. We went there, and 2005, I should say. We went there and we had at least a share of the tie if we lost, which was a little bit difficult to swallow after they beat us. But in 2003, we went there early in the season, and that was a turning point of our career that led to our 22-2 season that ended up in a runner-up finish at the national tournament. But at this time, knowing that we had put ourselves in a little bit of a hole with the two losses against Masters and Vanguard, and then having to play in the final match of the season against Concordia, I thought to myself, if we lose, we can finish no worse than fourth, still play at home in the playoffs. If we win, we share the title with Vanguard if they would have won. And you just don't know. You look back at history sometimes, forgetting the present. And so I was really pleased at the way the boys responded. However, they did a fantastic job. All season long, we played very consistent, even in the losses early in the season that we had against the Division I, Division II teams, where those scores were lopsided. They were lopsided in terms of the goals that we allowed, but in terms of the run of play, I thought we were as good as they were, if not in some aspects better. So going into this game, really felt that we could stay with them, we can play with them. We play well on turf. We've had, I think, 5 different games this year on turf, and we've had some very, very good results. And so them having the home field advantage on turf, I thought that's not going to be a factor. The factor is going to be, can our go-to guys do the job, and can we stifle their go-to guys? Fortunately, we stifled their goal scorer, not completely their playmaker, who is the other forward who comes back into the midfield and made some plays. I thought he made some significant plays, but he couldn't find Christian Ramirez, who was number 17, and I thought we did an exceptional job, and they could not stop Islas. I mean, Paul had a fantastic season, and again, with Fabricio in the midfield, with Guy, getting Guy back was huge for us in terms of him being solid in the defense, anchoring the defense along with Luke Tyler. So I think the fact that we went into that game complete as a team, as opposed to having been a little bit in the last few games fragmented, was huge for us psychologically, and the boys responded admirably.
And Coach, I know that this title meant a lot to you personally, it being your last year in the GSAC. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I was an assistant coach when the GSAC first began in 1986, and I remember we struggled the first 4 years of the GSAC. I think it was 5. The first 5 years of the GSAC we struggled, and we didn't even make the playoffs in any of those years, I don't think. And we had been, prior to that, national runner-up twice, and District 7 champions for a number of years. And so it was difficult for me. It was in a period of time when, as an assistant coach, I was thinking, okay, what's happening to our program? And there were a number of things that were happening back then that were not known to me, that I later found out when I took over the program. So in 1991, when I took over the program, the GSAC was very, very strong, and I had 4 players returning from that 2000 team. From that 1990 team. I had 4 players returning, and I had to recruit basically a full team, and picked up some local players and a couple of international kids that helped us out, and lo and behold, we were able to capture the GSAC crown for for the first time, which was an accomplishment in itself, since Ben Norton, the former coach, was one of the originators of the conference. He was in those meetings that spawned the idea of having the Golden State Athletic Conference. And so for me to know that my head coach was a catalyst in that movement, to have won it my first year as head coach, and really being, having a number of years of experience as an assistant coach, but getting to win it right off the bat was huge. The other aspect of it that I think a lot of people don't know is that my brother Jaime Ramirez was a senior on that team that I had, and in that year he became the player of the year for the conference, for the region, first team All-American. At that time he was our second first team All-American ever, next to Rafael De Sico, who we inducted this year into the Athletic Hall of Fame. And so now, 21 years later, since I took over the program, and a few GSAC titles, since then, with the help of so many assistant coaches that I've had, so many players that have been here, that have been quality and the professional level that we've had with those guys, to be in our last season prior to going into the NCAA Division II and in the Pac West Conference. It's a dream come true, basically, because you wanna leave something the way you found it, so to speak, as we say, in many respects, and we came in as GSAC champions, and we're leaving as GSAC champions, and my congratulations goes to my coaching staff, the athletic training staff that has been phenomenal, in the work that they do, and this particular class of student athletes that I have, with a couple of seniors that have given us tremendous leadership, and a core of sophomore, junior players that has been tremendous. It's I think it's very, very special, but I think there's still that idea that we're not done. Winning the conference title, I've always said it every year. You win the conference title, you put yourself in a position for the playoffs to do really, really good things. The most basic of goals has been get to the playoffs. But when you get to the playoffs by being the conference champion, it always gives you that sense of aura, that momentum that other teams understand, and it weighs heavy on them. So it really, really means a lot.
And so now we have we get Westmont in the first round, a team that we just played last week. Tell us a little bit about that game and just the playoff picture as a whole and how you see it panning out.
The Westmont game has a huge significance for us, I think, in a number of sports. And although their programs right now haven't had the success that they had in the late 60s, throughout the 70s, 80s, and early 90s, I mean, they were, for a lot of years, the team, the program to beat in the West Coast as far as NAIA schools go. And so our ability to prepare throughout the years, you look back at the 1980 championship season we had. It was my senior year in college when we beat them for the first time in soccer for the district title, and then the subsequent victories over them. You look at their history in terms of the soccer, and next to UCLA, the only program that has beaten them more times out of any of the schools that they've ever played has been Fresno Pacific University. And so that's one aspect that I think brings a certain level of rivalry and tradition to this match, that magnifies the significance in a playoff match. The other aspect of it is that their coach, Dave Wolf, and myself came in as head coaches in the very same year, in 1991, and we've been competitors, brothers in Christ, sharing the families, number of different things, and in their loss a few years ago when their whole area burned down, the university and homes and things like that, in all aspects of life, Dave Wolf and I have been very, very good friends through the common ground that soccer has brought us together, the competitiveness as rivals, but that friendship that in our faith in Jesus Christ has bonded us as men, that we're trying to do the same thing. We're trying to win soccer games, but it goes far, far beyond that. And so to a certain extent, I know, and I said this to him last week when we played them in regular season, but this being the last time that we could possibly play Westmont, it has also a special meaning for us. And so historically, from what happened back when I was a player to now that I have this relationship with a Wolf that I absolutely admire to the nth degree. I mean, the guy is just a phenomenal coach and a great brother in Christ.
And then I know you don't like to look ahead in the playoff bracket, but if this team plays the way they're capable of, how far do you see this team able to go, and what is it going to take to reach that?
I think that when you get to these stages and you come in with momentum and you start looking at your pieces, and I'm looking at the players position by position, role players coming off the bench and supporting the starting lineup. I look at ourselves and I think we're as good as anyone. I think we're as good as anyone in the country. There are some international squads out there. You look at the Lindsey Wilsons, the Rio Grandes, maybe Mobiles, a couple of those teams that may have more internationals per se, maybe a little larger bench strength coming off the bench. But still, you can only use 15, 16 players. You can have 22, and how are you going to keep them all happy and playing with a sense of rhythm? It's your starting lineup that's going to get things going, and your few substitutes that you bring in that are going to get the job done and keep the team at a particular level. I feel that this team can do just that. I like where we're at right now. I like the fact that they believe in themselves. I like the fact that they get along well. I like the fact that we've been talking all year long about loving your neighbor as yourself, and I'm seeing that manifest itself in a number of different areas of our team, not just on the pitch when we train and when we play games, and when we travel, when I see the guys hanging out here on campus, when I see them at college hour doing a number of different things. And we know that one of the components that is critical in establishing the concept of team, the bonding and all that, is lifestyle. What is it that they do after we practice that allows them to feel good about themselves? I think they're in that zone, as we say.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.